Dominated all weekend and took pole ahead of Hamilton, Webber and Abu Dhabi winner Raikkonen. Schumacher was happy. Alonso moved up to 7th and the clean side of the grid thanks to a gearbox penalty for his teammate. Massa sacrificed his grid slot while Button suffered thanks to a throttle pedal problem. Both Saubers struggled, and with the Mexican fans out in force, Perez was very disappointed. Rosberg didn't fare as well as his teammate and lined up just ahead of Ricciardo and the Marussias, while the Caterhams and HRTs rounded off the grid. Formula One had been welcomed by the Lone Star State. An action-packed race would be a fitting debut. Vettel got away well, but so too did Webber. He blasted ahead of Hamilton and up to 2nd. Alonso jumped to 4th and Hülkenberg pressurised Raikkonen for 6th. While several cars found themselves making the most of the runoff areas. Fernando countered Ferrari's speed deficit by making up places from the word go. Hülkenberg, Raikkonen and Schumacher were easily cast aside. Starting on the clean side of the grid had clearly paid off. Vettel led Webber, Hamilton and Alonso down the pit straight and up to the very steep turn 1. Schumacher was 5th, but he was under attack from Hülkenberg. Nico may be en route to Sauber next year, but he still fought to score points for Force India. Michael soon found himself being hunted down by both Lotus cars. First Raikkonen. Then, while Schumacher ahead retaliated, Grosjean got in on the act. And passed them both. The Mercedes had to go back, but could only slot in between the teammates. Lewis may have lost out starting from the dirty side of the track, but before long he had closed on Webber. But he couldn't make it stick this time round. Webber was off the hook for the moment at least. One lap later, Hamilton made the move in the DRS zone once again. And he did it.
Fantastic job, Lewis. Gap to Vettel 2.5 seconds. We can catch him.
Grosjean's pursuit of 5th place Hülkenberg was severely curtailed. He flat-spotted his tyre and came out in the middle of a squabble between Schumacher and Massa. At least he closed the door on Perez. Teammate Raikkonen was more successful with his attack on Force India just a few laps later. But on lap 17, things went awry for Webber.
Kurz has failed. P0 if you can, Mark, P0.
The Red Bull pulled to a halt thanks to yet another alternator problem. Lap 20 and Hamilton made his one and only stop. He rejoined behind Raikkonen. Alonso also pitted. Webber's retirement had boosted Fernando to 3rd. But this was not the time for a rare Ferrari pit lane problem. Every second was crucial in the championship fight. Just a few laps later, Jensen caught Fernando. The McLaren was much quicker than the Ferrari, and he easily moved up to 5th. Raikkonen had lost 2nd place to Hamilton, so pitted from 3rd. But he too had problems. He fell back behind Alonso and Ricciardo, who was yet to stop. At the front, Hamilton closed on Vettel. Both drivers had been on it all weekend, and now the McLaren was steadily taking chunks out of the Red Bull's advantage.
Last lap was excellent, 4/10 faster than Vettel.
Button started the race on a new set of hard tyres and was out of sync with the rest of the field when he made his one and only stop on lap 35. Massa was on a push. He may have sacrificed his grid position, but he had outqualified his teammate on Saturday. Now he reeled in Raikkonen and glided up into 4th. At the front, Hamilton and Vettel still squabbled. The gap hovered at around a second. They both badly wanted this victory. Lewis kept closing the gap. Then Sebastian inched away again. The Force India kept well clear of the scrap. But it was still a tense time for their teams. Karthikeyan was the next car to lap. Vettel was unfortunate to encounter him when he did. The McLaren had gained time. And Lewis would soon get a helping hand from DRS. Now he made his move and took over the lead. Once he had that added boost, there was no stopping him. Teammate Button was embroiled in some action and took on Raikkonen. It had been an excellent recovery drive for Jensen after his technical problem in qualifying. And thanks to the pace of the McLaren and a long first stint, he now moved up to 5th. Hamilton raced with the stars and stripes on his helmet, and it had been his ambition to conquer America all weekend. He'd been the last winner at Indianapolis in 2007, and now he was going to be the first winner in Austin. Vettel was just 6/10 behind. Victory for Lewis at his penultimate race for the team was met with joy. While Sebastian's second place meant that Red Bull wrapped up their third consecutive Constructors' title. Third for Alonso meant the driver's title would go down to the wire in Brazil. Although it was going to be an uphill task for the Italian team. For the first time in Austin, it was Hamilton, Vettel and Alonso on the podium. Massa felt it was his best race of the season. Button and Grosjean recovered well, while Hülkenberg kept both Williams cars at bay.
What a wicked weekend, great fans, beautiful weather, and really what a great track. I'm so